We are taught from a young age that quality is more important than quantity. It's better to have 2 close friends than 20 shallow ones. One versatile, long-lasting pair of sneakers and 5 cheap and flashy ones that you'll be sick of in a year, if they haven't fallen apart until then, and so on and so forth. I agree with these examples for the most part, but I guess the rules are different when it comes to learning a skill or honing a craft. For example, wouldn't it be too easy to tell book authors to only publish bestsellers? That would be terrible advice. Imagine how many books that actually became bestsellers never would have been released just because the writers weren't willing to risk any other potential outcome. Imagine how many would have been bestsellers the world never got because of that exact reason. Even if we take public recognition out of the equation for a moment, the same logic can be applied to what we consider our personal best. Because what if our best is not good enough for our own standards? That's where quality over quantity reaches its limits. You don't get the quality you want without putting in the work first. That's where consistency comes into play. Of course, so-called overnight successes still exist. Sticking to the book author example, those would be the ones who make it to the top of the bestseller list with their debut. But if you think about it, even if an author rolls in success with their first published work, it's pretty unlikely that it's the first they've ever written. Maybe they tried really hard getting a book deal for their first, second, third book, but weren't successful. Maybe they didn't even dare to try to get published with their firsts. Maybe they didn't consider them good enough for the public. Maybe they simply wanted to keep those firsts private for sentimental reasons. And that's the beauty of it. You can choose to be quietly consistent if that's a way to go. Consistency creates confidence, even if no one's watching. Other people, like me, need the commitment of a posting schedule to stay consistent. Despite not having a big audience yet, my promise to myself to create regularly and call a project finished by posting it is what keeps me going. More than that, I want to look back in a year and see my progress. And I want others to see it too. But of course, progress isn't linear. And that, I guess, is the curse of the overnight success. The fear of being a one-hit wonder. I can't speak from experience here. Part of me wishes that I could. But I love what Elizabeth Gilbert wrote in her book Big Magic about this topic. I wish that Harper Lee had kept writing. I wish that right after Mockingbird and the Pulitzer Prize, she turned out 5 cheap and easy books in a row. A light romance, a police procedural, a children's story, a cookbook, some kind of pulpy action adventure story, anything. You might think I'm kidding, but I'm not. I don't know if I'm stepping on my point here, but I think this quote is a perfect example that progress doesn't necessarily mean better than, but it can also mean bold, innovative, unexpected, different. So, while striving for improvement isn't an unworthy quest, we shouldn't forget that we're allowed to create just for the heck of it. Even if it's off-brand, even if it's bad. Because we don't owe anyone excellence. You don't need a permission slip to make art. Any kind of art. But here's one anyway.